Day weekend or a really productive Labor Day weekend. Between Andrew and I here, we had a little bit of both. Andrew worked all Labor Day, and I rested all Labor Day. So today I'm here with Andrew Kap. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I love the counterbalance. Like, between the two of us, it was kind of a busy Labor Day, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's so great to have you here. And of course, you're in New York and I'm in New York. Remind me where in New York you are.
Well, I've been basically going back and forth between Astoria and Yonkers. So
Okay,
today's Yonkers, but I'm kind of like all over the place and keeping busy, keeping
nice.
mobile, keeping all over the place.
So I used to play roller derby with Suburbia Roller Derby.
Mm,
I was not very good, but I was always in Yonkers. So I
mm,
love Yonkers. It's close to my heart. If I do move out of the city one day, it'll probably be somewhere around there. So
got it. So
that's
it's I think the third largest city in New York, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of real estate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So for those of you watching, for those of you jumping on here, or if you're watching later, let us know where you're listening and watching us from. Where are you joining us from? What are you doing today? How's everything? How was your Labor Day? I want to know all that. Put it in the comments. We see the comments. So while we're talking here, if a question comes up or a comment comes up, please feel free to put it in the chat, and Andrew and I will answer you. So yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll get started in just a minute here. I'm just gonna peek on LinkedIn and make sure that we are indeed live.
Fun of technology, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, we are awesome. All right, and we
Virginia,
have
cool.
Latanya Johnson from Virginia. Welcome. Thank you for watching us here today. Um, Cool. And the other thing I want to know, I'm a coffee lover. And of course, this show is called Coffee with Entrepreneurs Live. So I want to know, if you're listening, if you're watching, how do you take your coffee? And if you don't drink coffee, how do you start your day? All right. And Andrew, that's going to be my first question to you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we were talking about this before we went live. I
Mhm.
am in the cycle category of not drinking coffee. I mean, I've had it, but I made a point, 20 years ago when I started my entrepreneurial journey. Like, I didn't want to get hooked on anything that I would need to get up. So I'm just one that those people that just the alarm goes off and they just get up and they don't have
Uh,
a cup of coffee to launch them through. And my days basically they begin in different ways. Like recently, like the past 5 months, they've begun with email only in the sense that because the stuff that I'm offering is worldwide now and customer emails are coming in overnight. I don't want them to have to wait. So I'll answer my emails, and then I'll either get a workout in or a meditation session or something positive. But
mhm.
I kind of break rules that I would tell people not to do, but I'll start off with emails and working.
Yeah, and it's funny how that. First of all, congratulations on not being hooked on coffee.
Thank
Um,
you.
I envy you. I wish I was you in that regard.
I
Um,
took email instead, right?
exactly. Although I have to say that's the first thing I do in the morning too, is check email, and it's
Mm,
a terrible habit. But of course, when we're entrepreneurs, like every wisdom says don't check your email right in the morning, but you're serving your customers, and they're international, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
counterbalance of like, you want to do the right thing, you want to maintain your energy, but also depending on your personality, some people just don't like their email building up where it's going to take them 3 hours to pile through.
yeah.
So, and that could be a rationalization, by the way, that I'm backing myself into, but sometimes you just got to talk yourself into doing it for some reason.
Yeah,
And welcome, Dr. Kirby from Texas.
awesome. That's great. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Kirby. That's awesome. Last week we had somebody from India and Australia at the same time, so I
Cool.
always I always love seeing where people are listening from. So awesome. So it sounds like you start the day with a workout with some good stuff to get in the right headspace.
I
Um,
try. I really
mhm.
do. And I've got a thing, obviously in theme with my book, where
Yeah.
I have a friend where at some time in the day, and we try to do it early, we'll exchange voice messages, that we just will record and send over the iPhone, where we just list the things that we're grateful for. And
I love that.
it's cool because the fact that we're doing it together, there's a social pressure to keep up with it, and it's such a positive habit to keep into. So we kind of keep ourselves accountable in that way, while simultaneously leveraging the power of gratitude to, again, wake up with even more energy, better perspective, and just getting off on the right foot most of the time.
I love that. So you have a gratitude accountability buddy.
Yes.
Accountability buddy. That's awesome.
We haven't figured out the name either, but yeah, exactly.
What a wonderful practice. I love that. So Latanya says that she has half cream, vanilla caramel, mocha, Java blend, medium roast. Sounds amazing.
That sounds really good. See, this is why I'm glad I'm not hooked on coffee, because that's something I would go out and get right now if I was.
Yeah. I mean, so my drink of choice lately, it changes sometimes, is a lavender latte with oat milk. One of the local coffee shops in Brooklyn delivers, and they, of course, pandemic times, they need the business, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my rationalization behind getting one of those every morning. But it's like it's the thing I have to have, So good on you. That's amazing. I love that. How many of you have, those of you listening, how many of you have a gratitude practice like that, or an accountability buddy that you check in with every morning? I mean, what a difference it sounds like that could make in your energy.
Yeah. And I highly recommend it for people that don't. And it's really interesting because, it's all blur, but I think January 8th will be 3 years of doing it. We can really go back into changes that we were looking to make back then. And 3 years sounds like a long time, but it's not like, poof, it's better now and it wasn't better then. Like, we can see the progress and we can see how things have gone in a direction in all different areas of our lives through that. And it really is a wonderful reinforcement and a positive affirmation to keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. That's fantastic. So you are the author of, as the sign says behind you, the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. And wow, what a promise.
What a mouthful and a promise, right?
Right. But like, what a proposition, right? So I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. Lots of us here listening were either, high level decision makers, or, maybe we're entrepreneurs in our company, or maybe we're looking for kind of the next level in our life in some way, right? Yeah. Why do we need the law of attraction?
Well, so here's the really cool thing. I would say you need law of attraction methods regardless of whether you believe in the law of attraction or not. Mm-hmm. And I did a podcast appearance probably like a month and a half ago where I was talking with someone who was skeptical about it. And I brought up the example of, let's take lifting weights. You lift weights, you build muscles, right? That's very simplistic, but we'll go with it. So there's two explanations I want to give you for why this works. Explanation number one is you lift weights, and when you're sleeping, the muscle fairy comes at night and builds your muscles for you.
Yeah.
Alternate explanation is when you're lifting weights, you're actually making micro tears in your muscles from the stress that your body is then filling in with more proteins and more muscle fiber, thereby building the muscles. My answer to which one is the truth is it doesn't matter. What does matter is you lift weights, you get muscles. You do one thing, you get the result. Meaning, law of attraction methods, if you do them the right way, whether it's gratitude, visualization, scripting, whatever it might be, doesn't matter if you think it's a magical, universal energy doing something for you, or if it's just you programming your subconscious mind, which then dives in, takes the wheel, and pulls off a lot of different moves that you couldn't do on your own to get you a certain result that you want. Bottom line is, you do these methods in the right way, again, gratitude and things like that, you will start to see results of positivity, of improvement, more money, better health, improvement in relationships, as long as those are the things that you're focusing on with ease and without any huge expectation or need for a specific outcome.
I love that because, that I always love to play devil's advocate and kind of say like, well, what about the skeptics, right? What about the people who don't believe in this for whatever reason? Because when I hear law of attraction, I'm of a certain age, right? So when I was growing up, The Secret was a thing, and a lot of people believed in it, and a lot of people read it and everything like that. But a lot of people also kind of put it off as like, okay, this is too woo for me. This is woo woo. This is, and it became like a stereotype and became something to make fun of. Right. Yeah. And you either believe in it or you don't. And, the people who don't believe in it kind of look at the people who do believe in it and are like, okay, well, whatever, they're weird, so, but you're actually talking about something. So even the skeptics, right, looking at what the law of attraction is, it's a way to reprogram your mind. It's a way to reprogram what you do, right? And I love the working out analogy, because whether you believe it or not, right? Whether you believe that the muscle fairy comes at night or that you're creating tears and building your muscles that way, it's a really great way to, either way it happens.
Yeah. And like even in my book, again, like I focus mainly on gratitude exercises or methods,
Mm-hmm.
scripting, which is really just journaling and writing and describing your life in the present tense as if you already have the life of your dreams,
Yeah.
and standard visualizations. And the thing about gratitude in particular is if you do research, again, we don't care about law of attraction and we don't believe in this stuff. Gratitude reduces stress, it lowers anxiety, it increases confidence, it improves sleep. Like they have little studies you can find that have these kinds of health benefits. So me, I tell somebody like, well, if you engage in this process, you're doing something that's been scientifically found to help you and improve your health. And then imagine the benefit you get 30 days later when something that you strategically focused on actually starts to come into place for you. Again, whether it's universal energy or your subconscious mind's taking the wheel or some weird coincidence, I'll put that in quotes, whatever it might be. And I love the people where like they'll take my advice and they'll do it and they'll get like a holy crap result. I'll watch my language. And they're like, well, it's not the law of attraction. I'm like, I don't care if you still don't believe it. What matters is you did it and you got this result. So if you don't want to believe in it, that's cool, but keep doing this because obviously it just worked for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love that. And I love that, when people like you say, get the holy crap result and they're like, well, maybe it was just a coincidence, right? It doesn't matter. You're still making your life better. You're still, achieving what you want. So you mentioned gratitude. And of course we were talking about the one thing that you do every morning with your buddy, where you send each other a voice memo of what you're grateful for. What are some other things that people can put into practice today?
Well, I'll teach my top gratitude method actually, because this is a very easy one to do. And if you give yourself the space to actually do it, you might be pleasantly surprised how great you feel when you do it. And this is from the book. I call it the time lapse method. And basically, you're going to write down a list of 15 things. 5 of them are things that you're grateful for that you received in the past. 5 of them are things that you're grateful for that you have right now in the present. And 5 of them are things that you want in the future. And the trick is that you're going to write all 15 in the present tense. That's how you're going to word it. And then you're going to jumble up the list, meaning maybe the first thing on your list is a present thing, and then a future, and then a past, and then a future, and a future, and a present. Like it's all jumbled up. And the strategy behind this is 2/3 of that list, there is a level of certainty and confidence that you have as you might read, you're going to read each item one by one on the list. That level of certainty, you can't downshift. In other words, when you get to the future items that you want, you're at this level of certainty and confidence where you're basically, if you believe in law of attraction, emitting the same vibration of certainty, the same high frequency. And again, if you don't believe in the law of attraction, you're programming your subconscious mind in a much stronger, more convincing way. Because again, 2/3 of that is, yes, this really happened. 1/3, you're still allowing yourself to feel good, and it just bleeds over. And again, it's one of those things where I can't really oversell or overstate it in the description. It's something that you just want to try for yourself, and it takes a few minutes, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And what a simple thing, it's something that I've never thought of. I mean, mix up the past, present, and future. It's a nice trick.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be trying that. And
thank you for calling it a trick, by the way. Like I said, you're tricking your vibration into emitting the level of what you really want, and there's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, you don't just by knowing how the magician does his trick, you're not killing the effect because you can't help it. You're engaging with 2/3 of a level of certainty that 1/3 has to carry over in the short period of time that you're doing it.
Right. And from a psychological perspective, that works too, because, you're already feeling the things that are certain, right? And then you look at the things that are happening in the future and you're like, okay, well, I still feel really good, right? I still feel really good thinking about the things that have happened. So, calling it a trick, I think is it sounds silly, but it's a trick because it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like magic. It's like, oh, well, okay. That's awesome. So a lot of people will say, well, that stuff, it doesn't work for me. The law of attraction hasn't worked for me. I tried it. I, read this book, or I listened to this podcast, or I tried meditating, and it just didn't work. What do you say to those people?
I'm going to say I've been there, and I'm going to make an assumption about them that they may or may not realize. And that is, oftentimes people will engage in these methods to get the result, which, duh, of course, that's the whole point of doing it to begin with, right? But here's the rub. If you do the method to get the result, you're focusing on the lack of the result. Whereas the trick is, again, I don't know how it works, but it works. I tried it, it worked. The trick is to do the method for the sake of the enjoyment that you get from doing the method. To feel good in just the envisioning of what you want, regardless of when or how or why it's going to happen. Because when you're doing that, when you're actually feeling good about it, and when you're doing it for the sake of doing it, not only is that going to emit the vibration and the level of confidence that you want, but it's basically going to be a thing where you don't look at these daily exercises as a chore anymore. They're a choice. And again, those people like, oh, I've been at this for a year and nothing.
Yeah.
You hear the statement of that, you hear the frustration. It wouldn't be as frustrating if they actually enjoyed it, because who says, oh, imagine like a spoonful of ice cream that gets you in perfect shape. It's a magic ice cream, right? That's how I put the intro in the book. Imagine someone saying, oh, I've been having a spoonful of ice cream every day and I hate this. Like, no, you don't. It's a nice, sweet spoonful of magic ice cream that's getting you fit. Who wouldn't like it? That's the same thing about the methods. You want to enjoy them for the sake of enjoying them, because not only, again, it'll speed things up, it won't feel like this chore. It won't feel like this bridge that you can't cross. And that's the key that you want to do for this, especially if you've been frustrated about this for years.
That's amazing. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You said I've been there. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to even be able to write this book.
Yeah, well, it's such a long time coming. It's really, I don't even know where to begin on this. I learned, so as an entrepreneur, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs listening, they could relate to the fact that when you become an entrepreneur, you are met with certain challenges of who you are on an identity level that you wouldn't expect. And you find yourself towards positive thinking. You'll read Think and Grow Rich, or you'll read What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Chad Helmstetter, or whatever it might be. But you find your way oftentimes to a positive thinking modality. And I discovered law of attraction in like the mid 2000s, around the time of The Secret. I knew it before then. Mm-hmm. And like anyone else, I gave it a whirl. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. It was one of those things where there was a certain doubt of like, well, is it really going to work when it counts? Because it kind of works. I want a penny, but not when I want the $1,000. Like, I don't know. So basically, like, cut to probably like 12 years ago, my first business was going down the tubes, and a 3-year relationship was really suffering because I was working so hard to do the business portion of things. Mm-hmm. And basically, like, within 3 days of finally like quitting and throwing the business away, saying I can't do this, my girlfriend of 3 years breaks up with me over a text message.
Wow.
It's like, no in person, which would have been nice, and not even a phone call. Again, 3 years. This isn't like we were going out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So this was not fun, which probably people would understand me putting it lightly.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I got to the point where I was like, listen, I'm really not happy. I feel like 90% of my life is gone in the span of 1 week. I need to do something. So I just made this defiant, stubborn, indignant choice that I'm going to do these methods, and I'm going to go every day, and I'm not going to care what's going to change, how it's going to change, why it's going to change. I don't care. I'm just doing it. And every single day I set out, and even just 5 or 10 minutes a day, and I did it very stubbornly. And the magic, for lack of a better word, that happened, like, you can't really describe. Like, 2 weeks later, I felt better, which is saying a lot for someone with a broken heart.
Yeah.
3 months later, I was in a brand new, way healthier relationship. 4 months later, I was making more money at that point in my life than any time before. And 6 months later, my life was completely different. I was like in the best shape of my life. I was like in a completely new headspace every time I woke up. There was even a point where I lost 25 pounds in 7 weeks without trying. Now, I mean, I was working out with Sensei, but it wasn't about the weight. It was just about feeling better about myself. Right. Those magical little things were like popping up all over the place. And it was just like this life-changing thing. And it was at that point that I realized, like, listen, when I commit to this, it works. And when I don't, it doesn't. Or when I don't, it sometimes works. And all I really had to draw on was my experiential results. And that's all I can really give to people if they want to do it for themselves as well.
That's really significant because you're talking about a change in every single area of your life.
Yeah.
You're talking about relationships, you're talking about money, you're talking about your business, your health, even on the superficial level, you're talking about your appearance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's a manifestation of the health, and the money is a manifestation of the business, et cetera, right? And the relationship is a manifestation of you, because what we put into relationships, we get out of them. You change every area of your life at the same time.
Yes.
And it's like, I want to like point that out, because that's not a small thing, right? Most wisdom says don't try to lose weight and get out of debt at the same time, right? Or don't try to start a business and lose weight, or whatever it is, right? Do one thing at a time to sort of incrementally improve things. And you did it virtually overnight. I mean, within months.
Yeah. I mean, 6 months is not a bad deal, going from a broken heart and a broken business to a pretty sweet life. I'm not going to complain with 6 months, And,
that's amazing.
and I'm glad, by the way, Marie, that you brought up even the physical stuff, because I think part of the reason people were resistant to The Secret, those that didn't really doubt the law of attraction, is they don't want to see themselves as shallow. When I'd say, listen, some things are internal, some are external, some are deeper than others, but whatever you want in your life, as long as you're not intentionally hurting somebody else, it's all okay. And it's when you let go of that judgment of what it might be that you're really free to improve a relationship or improve an appearance or do both, whatever you want to be. Don't judge yourself. And if you're worried that other people are going to judge you, just don't tell them what you're doing. But it's very important to be okay with whatever you want, regardless of the level of, this is okay according to society or not. Again, you're not hurting anybody else. You've got nothing to be sorry for.
Yeah. So no guilt, basically.
No guilt. No guilt that would drag you down, which, again, if you believe in the law of attraction, guilt is going to keep your vibration low. And if you don't believe in the law of attraction, guilt is going to sabotage your mindset, and your subconscious mind's going to be like, I'm not buying this. I'm not fixing anything for you.
Right. And what you're talking about, by the way, is easier said than done. A lot of people have guilt around money. They have, even though they want money, they have negative feelings about money. Right. So that keeps them from sort of doing better than they are. It's pervasive, what you're talking about.
Well, it's easier said than done from a certain standpoint. I'm glad you brought this up, because I remember hearing recently a world's foremost mind modeler who says that behavior trumps belief, which, for a law of attraction teacher or author, that's saying something, because we're all about belief, right?
Right.
But what you could say is basically, if you engage in these methods for just 5 minutes a day, your belief is going to catch up with you, and you're going to find yourself being more positive and more predisposed towards good things. So yeah, it's tough when you're trying to bend reality to your will and force the universe to do what you want it to do. But when you come from a more relaxed standpoint of listen, life's not perfect, and to be honest, I'm going to be a little ticked off certain times of the day. Every day is still either the beginning or end or both. I'm going to take 5 minutes out to do some scripting or to do a gratitude exercise or visualization, and I'm just going to enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it. And I'll see within a month, things will start to pick up, and then by that time, I have more momentum, and I can carry it over into those better things for myself.
That's fantastic. So it sounds to me then, you're saying, yeah, of course, I'm going to be ticked off. It's not going to be perfect, all this stuff. It sounds to me like there's, one of the things we think about when it comes to law of attraction, especially if we don't, aren't studying it, right, is that you have to be perfect about it. Right. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that your book definitely sheds a lot of light on, is that you don't have to be, thinking gratitude all day, every day, no matter what, no matter what craziness is going on in your life, even if it's not perfect, it still works.
In many ways, there's no such thing as perfect. And the worst thing you can do for yourself is try to be, because it defeats the whole purpose. Because once you decide you have to be perfect, then all of a sudden you've got to do the methods the way I put them exactly, without leaving yourself any room to tweak them in a way that you like. And all of a sudden you have to be regimented, and it can only be these exact 5 minutes, and there can't be any external noise when you're trying to meditate. All these other rules that we try to pick apart. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but just to give people a little insight as to at least the way I shared in the book, And I understand that we all have different viewpoints of words and they have meanings, but I kind of think that we have a conscious, a subconscious, and an ego. And the thing about it is the ego is stronger than the conscious, but the subconscious is way stronger than the ego and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I view the ego as basically this thing that it only cares about one thing, and that's that you are alive, which means if your business sucks and your love life sucks and your money sucks, like whatever's going on right now, if you're in pain or discomfort, all your ego knows is, well, you're still alive. Maybe I don't want to risk what might happen if you improve, because maybe more money means family members will come out of the woodwork and try to get you take your money. Maybe fame that you're going for means you get a stalker. Maybe that promotion that you want, everyone's going to hate you. Like, who knows, whatever ideas. So your ego is going to find ways to trip you up when you're trying to do these methods and tell you you've got to be perfect. You don't even realize it's the voice in your back of your head, because it wants to keep you where you're at, because it wants to keep you safe. It loves you. This is a misguided attempt, but it wants to keep you safe, which is why the cool thing about any law of attraction method worth its salt is it accesses the subconscious mind, which is like it's like wrestling a grizzly bear. The ego is no match for it. And when the subconscious mind takes over, where it's, communicating to the universe and driving your actions, or both, you're unstoppable, and what you want becomes inevitable.
I love that. I love that. And it's true. I mean, we fear change.
Yeah.
Even if we don't realize it, our body, our ego, everything is comfortable with the status quo, even if the status quo is not that great, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're in a bad relationship, or, you're in a poor financial situation, whatever the case is. So I love that. So let's shift. Let's talk about the book. You're rocking it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about what that journey has been like for you.
Well, even at the title, like I could picture people listening at the beginning of the video, like the last law of attraction book I'll ever need to read. Again, like we said, it was quite a claim, quite a promise, quite a mouthful. And the thing about it is, for me, it was quite a challenge, because if you put a book out like that and it's not good, the reviews are going to tell you pretty quickly. So I kind of obviously the name like that will help in sales initially, but if you don't have the quality to back it up, you're dead in the water. So for me, I've been very fortunate in that, again, I'm not some like expert. All I am is someone that understands what it's like to have trouble with this, understands what it's like to have success with it, and understands how to articulate that. And fortunately, that has been, lucky for me, connecting with people, and that's why I believe the reviews are as positive as they are. Because basically, I'm not saying it's the last law of attraction book you'll ever read. It's the one you'll ever need to read, because this is all you really need to actually put it into action, as opposed to having to bounce like back and forth to all other law of attraction books and programs. So for me, I've been grinding it every day. I'm working hard. I'm answering all the emails that come in. Like, I'm not like sitting around on the beach with a pina colada while the money's pouring in. Like, no, I'm grinding it out and doing everything I can to keep the momentum going so that it stays on those bestseller categories the way it has since December. Like, I don't take any of that for granted. Like, I'd be like, oh, look, I've had a #1 bestseller in multiple categories for like 8 or 9 or 10 months now. Yes, I'm very grateful for that, but I don't take any of it for granted. I think it's really important to keep your eye on the ball and keep sharing and keep doing things, like, again, like starting a new YouTube channel in support of it, and all these different things, because I want the book to be a foundation and a cornerstone, but really I just want it to be a vehicle by which people can use it as an excuse to improve their life in any way that they can. That's
fantastic. I feel like every time I look at the Amazon page, there's like 100 more reviews.
It's like the reviews climb up and the ratings climb even higher. So sometimes some people will write a review and some people just like mark the star rating. And it's a thing where, because, sometimes I'll tell people at the beginning of the week, I'll report to certain people, here's the number. By the time they get the email, the number's already increased. Yeah. I don't even want to email them again to bother them. But it's like, yeah, the number's actually better than that. But yeah, it's a thing where, this is actually a momentum where ever since I think I hit like 340 or 350 ratings, it got faster. I think there's a momentum where things pick up for whatever reason, where more people are giving their rating on the book, even though sales for the most part have been more, I would say, more consistent, compared to when there was only 240 ratings.
And I'd love that. And if you don't mind me pointing this out, I think it's a beautiful example of the LOA in practice, because you're saying here, you're not sitting on the beach, right? You're also taking action. Mm-hmm. You're working really hard for that book. You're doing the right things. You're grinding it out for the LOA and for the book, and look at what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you do the work and you put these principles in action, look what can happen.
Yeah, I'm taking action, which is a lot of people think is the antithesis of what the law of attraction is about. It's like, no, inspired action. Like you're not going to get as far as you want to get, not nearly sitting on your couch all day meditating on it, because at some point an idea is going to have to pop in your head for you to interact with this, three-dimensional physical space. You'll do it in an inspired place. Again, maybe your subconscious mind just gave you a brilliant idea, but you do want to act on it and implement ideas in order to kind of push yourself forward. And that's whether, you want love and it means signing up on a dating app or a dating website, or you want money and it means like signing up for a marketing class or anything else.
Love it. Fantastic. So folks can get the book, which by the way, I highly recommend.
Thank you.
So get it, whether you get it Kindle or hard copy or whatever the case is, read it and read it often, because we can all use reminders about these things. So Amazon and
if you go to lastlawofattractionbook.com, it'll auto forward you to the Amazon listing. And the cool thing is, like, for people that just don't have time to read, they're always like on the run, there's the audiobook also, which I'm really grateful, because that has done a lot also. It's reached a lot of people, the audiobook. So lots to be grateful for. And yeah, I keep it on Amazon and on Audible because I want it in a nice, convenient format that people are used to consuming. Like, I don't want them to have to order it special on a website that they don't recognize. Like, no, just do it on Amazon. It's nice and easy. They'll print it. They'll send it to you. They'll auto forward and auto email to you on Kindle or Audible, and you're all set.
It's lastlawofattractionbook.com.
You got it.
I'm putting that in the chat right now.
Oh, thank you.
So folks will get it on Facebook and on YouTube, and then I'll put it in on LinkedIn.
And if people aren't quite ready to pull out their wallets, but they want to learn more about this stuff, they could also go to youtube.com/Andrew Kap with a K. And I just launched the YouTube channel in July officially, really. And we're 600 plus subscribers right now, pushing hard and trying to put the book is just the book, and it really tries to cut to the heart of the matter. Whereas the YouTube channel, because it's videos, I throw a little extra humor in there and I put a little more entertainment in there, so people may enjoy that version of that format of the content as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, really, that's probably the best way. Like, if you go on YouTube, there is a place where you can contact there. You can leave comments. But it's through the book. And people can sign up for free bonuses when they get the book. But whether they're going to lastlawofattractionbook.com or youtube.com/Andrew Kap, those are not the only ways, but the easiest ways by which they can reach out to me if they need to. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for having me on, Maria. This is a really cool show. I love the vibe and the energy of it. And I have a funny feeling that every time a guest comes on, they have a really good time as well. I hope so. They seem to anyway. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching. And if you're watching later, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And if you read the book, let us know what you think. So we'll talk to you soon.